Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you could be 37% better than you are today. Not through luck, not through shortcuts, but because you chose one tiny action and repeated it every single day. That's it, 1%, every day, and yet in a year, that 1% grows into a life you barely recognize. A life where doors open, challenges crumble, and opportunities chase you because you became unstoppable. People think progress is a giant leap, a sudden breakthrough. But breakthroughs, they're illusions. Real transformation is invisible at first. It's the quiet, unnoticed choices, the extra page read, the extra step taken, the 1% more effort in your craft. Nobody sees it at the start, and that's why most fail. They expect fireworks today. But change doesn't shout, it whispers. It accumulates silently until one day you look around and the world is different. And the most shocking part, it's you who changed it. This isn't philosophy, it's math. And 1% a day doesn't sound like much, but compound it. Do the calculation. 365 days of 1% improvement. By the end of the year, you're 37 times better than when you started. Think about that. A fraction repeated, compounded, becomes extraordinary. That's not just growth, that's evolution. That's taking control of your life in a way that nobody else does. So, I'm not going to tell you to dream bigger. I'm not going to preach motivation that fades by lunch. I'm going to show you exactly how to harness 1% daily improvement, how to break the chain of mediocrity, and how to enter 2026 as a version of yourself that leaves people stunned, including yourself. This is the moment you stop waiting, the moment you start acting, the moment your life begins compounding in ways that seem almost magical, but are entirely real. Most people fail because they chase grand gestures. They think success is a sudden explosion, a huge leap, a life-altering decision, a viral moment. But life doesn't reward explosions. It rewards consistency. It rewards the people who understand the invisible math of growth, the people who realize that improvement doesn't have to be dramatic, it has to be daily. Here's the truth: every day, you make thousands of small choices. Some move you forward, some pull you back. The problem is, most people ignore the small ones, and they obsess over the big ones. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect alignment of circumstances, and while they wait, life passes by. Their dreams age, their potential decays. They wonder why, at 40, 50, or 60, they feel stuck. But here's the secret: 1% daily improvement destroys that trap. 1% doesn't seem like much, but it compounds. It forces attention on small wins, not excuses. It shifts your mindset from waiting to acting, from complaining to building, from stagnating to accelerating. Think about it: if you read one extra page of knowledge, take one extra step toward fitness, write one extra line of code, or make one extra connection every single day, you don't feel it today. You don't feel it tomorrow. But in a year, that's an entirely new you. One who's sharper, faster, stronger, more confident. One who doesn't just follow trends, one who sets them. Most people never see it coming because they underestimate the power of compounding action. And this is why they fail. They wait for a miracle. You don't need a miracle. You need a method. You need patience. You need to understand that 1% every day is not small. It's explosive in disguise. Here's where most people get it wrong. They understand the idea of improvement, but they don't structure it. They rely on motivation, which is fleeting. They rely on willpower, which fades. And then they quit, frustrated, thinking they're not capable. But capability isn't magic, it's design. It's the way you structure your actions every day. Start by breaking life into micro habits. Forget overwhelming changes. Forget giant goals. Focus on tiny, measurable steps. Want to read more? 1 page a day. Want to get fit? 1 push-up more than yesterday. Want to innovate in your work? 1 small improvement to your process daily. That's it. Just 1. And here's the mind-blowing part. Your brain loves it. The human mind is designed to reward consistency, not massive leaps. Every time you achieve your 1%, your brain releases dopamine. You feel a small hit of progress, and that feeling becomes addictive. Suddenly, improvement is no longer a chore, it's pleasurable. You're no longer fighting yourself, you're hacking your biology. Next, track it. Write it down. Visualize it. A 1% improvement hidden in your head has almost zero impact. But when you see it stacking day after day, it becomes undeniable. It becomes real. Momentum builds. Confidence grows. And here's the secret. This momentum feeds itself. One day, you'll wake up and realize the 1% isn't enough anymore. You're hungry for more. You're unstoppable. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about designing a system that forces you to win daily, even when life is messy, even when motivation is gone, even when everything else tells you to quit. 1% structured every day isn't small, it's strategic evolution. Here's something people don't talk about enough. Your environment isn't just a backdrop. It's the silent architect of your life. It shapes your thoughts, your energy, your habits, more than willpower ever could. You can have ambition, skill, and knowledge, but if your environment is toxic, distracting, or mediocre, your 1% daily improvement is crushed before it even starts. Think about it. Every time you're surrounded by negativity, laziness, or mediocrity, your brain absorbs it like a sponge. Every distraction, if every toxic conversation, every cluttered space steals your potential. You're not failing because you lack talent. You're failing because your environment doesn't allow your 1% to grow. So here's what you do: engineer your surroundings like a rocket launch. Remove distractions. Surround yourself with people who inspire, challenge, and elevate you. Create spaces that signal growth, focus, and action. Even small adjustments, like a clean workspace, a curated reading list, or a dedicated hour for deep work, compound like crazy. Suddenly, your 1% doesn't feel like a struggle. It feels inevitable. And the most powerful trick: immerse yourself in what you want to become. If you want to be smarter, read with purpose, listen with intent, and learn relentlessly. If you want to be fitter, surround yourself with reminders of health and motion. Your environment will do the work for you. When your willpower runs out, it becomes a silent partner in your growth. Here's the key: small changes in your environment amplify your 1% exponentially. It's leverage. It's not just habit. It's ecosystem design for personal evolution. The right environment turns incremental effort into unstoppable momentum, and before you know it, 1% becomes 10%, 20%, 100%. Your world doesn't just change, it transforms around you. Here's the brutal truth. Most people sabotage themselves not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they scatter their energy everywhere. Notifications ping, meetings drag, social media devours hours. Every fragmented moment dilutes your power. You try to improve 1%, but the impact is drowned in chaos. Focus isn't a luxury. It's the multiplier that turns small actions into life-changing results. Imagine a laser, weak in the broad spectrum, but concentrated, and it can cut through steel. Your attention works the same way. One undistracted hour, focused on a single task, compounds more than 10 scattered hours. That's the magic of 1% improvement. Incremental effort, magnified by undivided attention. So here's how you harness it: ruthlessly prune distractions. Schedule deep work like a sacred ritual. Turn off notifications, close tabs, silence the noise. Create a fortress around your mind, because every intrusion steals momentum. And remember, focus is a skill. You train it daily. 1 hour of total focus today builds 2 tomorrow, then 4, then 8. Momentum accelerates. Growth becomes inevitable. But there's another layer: emotional focus. Mental clarity alone isn't enough if your mind is weighed down by doubt, fear, or negativity. Every day, clear out mental clutter. Confront fear with action. Replace excuses with micro-progress. Your mind is the engine. Focus is the fuel. Without it, your 1% evaporates. With it, your results compound faster than you ever imagined. The people who change their lives aren't working harder, they're working sharper. 1%, amplified by unwavering focus, is unstoppable. And here's the kicker, it's simple. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just daily, deliberate action, executed with precision. Until the world has no choice but to notice your transformation. Here's a truth most people refuse to face: failure is inevitable. It's not a glitch in the system, it's the system. Every great innovator, every world changer, every high achiever has failed countless times. But here's what separates those who stagnate from those who soar. They don't run from failure, they use it. Think about it. Every setback, every mistake, every no is a lesson disguised as pain. The problem is, most people let it demoralize them. They see failure as proof they're not enough. That's a lie. Failure is data. It's information, feedback, and when you treat it that way, every day you can extract another 1% improvement. Here's how it works. Fail fast, learn faster, adjust, repeat. You stumble, ask, what can I change tomorrow? You hit a wall. Analyze it, break it down, and take one small step to overcome it. That one step compounds into momentum. The same 1% that seems invisible today becomes unrecognizable progress tomorrow. Most people fear failure because they confuse it with identity. They think, I failed, therefore I am a failure. That's a lie that destroys lives. Identity is built by action, not outcome. If you improve 1% daily, you are evolving every day, no matter what happens. You are unstoppable because your growth is inevitable. It is engineered, not lucky. Here's the kicker: the more you embrace failure, the more fearless you become. You stop being paralyzed by risk. You experiment relentlessly. You innovate aggressively. Every tiny lesson learned compounds into mastery. Every small adjustment, every minor recalibration, every 1% gain after a failure becomes your rocket fuel. Failure isn't the enemy. Resistance isn't the enemy. Complacency is the enemy. And the moment you treat every setback as a stepping stone, your life begins to accelerate faster than you ever imagined. Here's the secret that most people miss. Success isn't about bursts of brilliance. It's about relentless consistency. Momentum is invisible, yet it's the most powerful force in life. One tiny action repeated day after day, it builds an unstoppable current that carries you past resistance, doubt, and fear. Think about it. When you first start, the 1% gains feel insignificant. You can't see them. You feel like nothing is happening. That's the tricky part. Real growth is silent at first. But the day you realize you've done it 50, 100, 200 times, if the invisible force of momentum takes over, suddenly progress isn't hard, it's automatic. Your small efforts compound, and the results surge ahead of you. Consistency isn't about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. Momentum is durable. It doesn't rely on mood, energy, or circumstance. It relies on habitual action. That's why elite performers obsess over systems, not inspiration. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They show up every day. Every action counts. Every 1% stacks on the last. Here's the leverage: you start with a system so small it's impossible to fail. One page, one push up, one email, one experiment. Make it tiny enough that showing up is effortless. Then, as momentum builds, you naturally increase. The same 1% effort compounds into exponential growth, and suddenly, what seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Consistency also trains your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who wins daily, no matter what. You internalize the process. You stop thinking about results. You think about motion. And motion, sustained over time, cannot be stopped. Momentum is your silent partner. Your daily 1% improvement is the fuel. Keep showing up, keep compounding. And one day you'll look back and wonder how you ever struggled to take the first step. Here's the reality most people ignore. Time is your greatest ally if you use it wisely. Most of us want results yesterday. We measure progress in weeks, not years. We want life-changing success in months, not decades. That impatience is lethal. But the truth, growth is not a sprint. It's a compounding process that rewards patience and punishes haste. Think about compound interest in finance. 1% today seems negligible. 10% tomorrow feels small. But left untouched, invested, compounded daily, it explodes into life-altering results. The same principle applies to you. Your effort, repeated consistently over months, over years, becomes unstoppable. It's invisible at first, but relentless persistence turns tiny gains into monumental transformation. Patience is not passive, it's strategic. It's knowing that every small step matters, even when the outcome is invisible. Most people quit because they can't see immediate results. They abandon the process just as the compounding magic is about to kick in. Don't be like them. Trust time. Trust process. Trust the power of incremental progress. Here's the paradox. The longer you commit to your 1% improvement, the faster your results accelerate. Small actions today are like seeds. Weeks later, roots appear. Months later, shoots break the surface. Years later, you're in a forest you built yourself. Every tiny, daily action multiplies through time. And here's the kicker, while everyone else chases shortcuts, your patience becomes a competitive advantage. Others burn out. Others give up. Others underestimate the quiet power of consistent action. Meanwhile, you're compounding, evolving, and transforming. By the time the world notices, it's too late for them. They're left behind. Time rewards the relentless. It rewards the patient. It rewards the person who understands that 1% today is a revolution tomorrow. Here's the truth most people never grasp: your mind determines everything. Skills, knowledge, even environment, they all matter. But without the right mindset, your 1% daily improvements evaporate. The difference between someone who transforms their life and someone who stagnates isn't opportunity. It's belief. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. If you believe change is impossible, every effort feels futile. If you believe small actions don't matter, every 1% feels meaningless. But if you adopt a growth mindset, everything changes. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes data. Every tiny improvement becomes fuel for unstoppable momentum. Think of your mind as a control center. It directs your energy, interprets feedback, and decides whether you give up or push further. When you program your mind to see compounding daily progress, you stop fearing failure, ignoring obstacles, and chasing shortcuts. You start designing your life. You see growth in the invisible, progress in the small, and opportunity in the mundane. Here's the critical insight: mindset isn't fixed, it's cultivated. Each day, affirm your capacity to improve. Each day, remind yourself that tiny actions stack. Each day, embrace discomfort as a signal that you're growing. The brain loves patterns, so if you consistently feed it beliefs of growth, perseverance, and resilience, it rewires itself to produce results automatically. Ultimately, mindset is the engine. Your 1% daily improvement is the fuel. Without the engine running, your fuel is wasted. But with the right mindset, even the tiniest effort compounds into exponential transformation. You stop waiting for miracles. You stop blaming circumstances. You start creating your destiny, one deliberate action at a time. Here's the moment most people never reach: realizing that the life you dream of isn't a distant fantasy. It's a sum of your daily choices. 1% improvement, repeated day after day, is the engine of transformation. Tiny actions, invisible at first, compound into results that astonish everyone, including yourself. The truth is simple: greatness doesn't require massive effort overnight. It requires consistent, relentless action over time. Think about it. Every hour you spend improving yourself by just 1%, learning, creating, moving, thinking, adds up. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become a year, and suddenly, The person staring back at you in the mirror is unrecognizable from who you were before. More capable, more resilient, more unstoppable. That's the power of compounding action. But here's the catch: most people never start. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. That moment doesn't exist. The perfect moment is now. Right now. You can take one small action that pushes your life forward. That 1% doesn't sound like much, but it's the first spark of your revolution. So here's the challenge: start today. Pick one area of your life. Improve it by just 1%. Write a sentence, take a step, make a call, read a paragraph. Move your body. Do something small that compounds. Then do it again tomorrow, and the day after. Your future self will look back in amazement. I can't believe I became this person, you'll think. That's the magic. That's the 1% revolution. It doesn't ask for heroics. It asks for consistency, focus, patience, and courage. Take action today. Start your 1% journey. Build momentum. Engineer your environment. Strengthen your mindset. And watch 2026 become the year your life changes forever. Your move. Start now. The 1% revolution is waiting, and it begins with you.